Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. I'm Jessie, and this is Bobo Jessie Stitches. Whether you are new or returning, welcome in. I hope that you'll have a good time today. Today is Sunday, July 31st. I'm recording on the last day of the month. I I need to take care of some chores today, so I will probably be doing very minimal stitching. So I thought, oh, this is probably a good time to go ahead and wrap up July stitching. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am starting to. I've hit that phase in the space where. So I like to consider myself to be a person who has organized chaos to a certain extent, right? Like it may not be neat, like it may look like there's stacks and that kind of stuff, but I can usually find what I need to find. I have a very good memory. I have a system of how I stack things. I know it sounds weird, but so I can usually find what I need to find. What I know is that when I hit a stage where I can't find what I'm looking for, and I think it's where it's supposed to be, and it's not there, that's the time to clean up. That's the time to take some time, get your space organized, and put everything away where it's supposed to actually be, and that kind of stuff. Also, we are setting our schedule for the consultant to come in to do the build out of the craft space. And when I say build out, that's not really like super fancy. We are planning on getting alpha shelving from the Container Store. I'm an alpha girl. Like I've been using the alpha system since college, and so 20 years, right? So it's I know it's not the cleanest look. Like it's not very I guess it is clean because it's like, but it's all wire baskets and that kind of stuff, right? But for me, it works. I'm a visual organizer. When I finally do discuss like the whole like process of getting this room into place and everything, I'll share in more details about the various organizers and things I listen to and stuff. But the organizer that I adore, Marie Kondo. I actually appreciate her method of going through the process of sorting and getting rid of things. I actually agree with that style of thinking about. And you all know, right? Like anyone who sits there and like drags the part of like, oh, my toilet plunger doesn't give me joy. It gives you joy when when you need it, right? Like, let's be real. Like, she's not like a person and that's a little. I'm gonna say it's a little microaggressive racism because, right, a lot of Asians, not just Marie Kondo, a lot of Asian faiths actually believe in the energy of things and rooms and things like that. So if you have ever uttered the word feng shui, but yet drag Marie Kondo's concept of joy in things, you're dragging the same thing, right? Because feng shui is also about energy and space and but anyways, I wasn't going to be serious today. I was going to be all like fun. Anyway, but the organizing person that I really resonated with was Cass. Considering how many videos of hers I watch, you would think I remember her name. It's Cass. But her business is called Declutter Bug, and she kind of divides people up into 4 different categories of bugs based on their organizing style. But at its core, it's basically micro versus macro organizing, visual versus not. And so, so you could be a person who is a visual organizer or you like to shut things away, closed doors type of thing, right? Do you want to see your stuff? Do you not want to see your stuff? And then within those categories, you can either be a micro or a macro organizer, right? Like, do you want to have all of your different nuts and bolts separated out, or you'll just throw it all in together in one spot, and you'll find the specific bolt when you need to. You'll dump it and look for it and then dump it back in, right? And a lot of people are combinations of different things depending on what you're organizing and the space and that kind of stuff. And I will try to remember to link at least to her channel below if you're interested in that. But I am Well, I'm probably a B. Let's be real. I am a B in actuality, but I'm probably a mix between a bee and a butterfly, kind of depending on what I'm organizing. Um, and and so, which means that I like visual organizations. I like to be able to see my things, see what's happening, which is why I end up with stacks, because I can look at it and be like, I know where in that stack the thing is that I need. And so, which is why I think Alpha has always appealed to me, because it's a very visual system. You can see through the drawers, you can label things and still see what's in there, right? So I feel like I've been going back and forth. I watch so many craft room videos. I actually find them to be fun, but yeah, and I'll probably still keep watching them even after I get my rooms set up. But I've really been watching so many, and I've looked in the IKEA systems. I've looked in the, and frankly, I purchase IKEA furniture. I think it's fine. I don't think it's gonna test. Like, I don't think once you start moving them around, like they stop eventually living, right? Like, you have to put them where they're gonna live, and then that's it, right? At least in my experience, I've always found that they're not really. And plus, um, the in order for you to be visual in an IKEA system, it's all open shelving. Whereas with the Alpha system, you can have you can have the drawers and that kind of stuff. Anyways, I've been thinking about this for months, and this is kind of where I've concluded. It's quasi-stitchy related, but it's not really stitchy related. Let's get some stitching. All right. So I had a great month, y'all. Like, it was fantastic. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I think I had a super stitching bug or something. My hair looks really bad, y'all. I got it cut, and I haven't learned how to style it yet. So sorry. Um, we'll figure it out. Usually, like, I just put it in a ponytail, right? Like, you don't see it because it's been really long. But I got it cut enough that, like, putting it back, like, doesn't quite work. Anyways, all right. But yeah, no, I had a really great month. Again, the numbers don't mean anything other than they mean something to me. Also, don't look at my nails; they're bad. I need to take the polish off. Maybe that's one of my chores today. But I put in 15,061 stitches in 28 days. Like, what? There were definitely this was a hard month for me, y'all. I'm not gonna pretend it wasn't. This is a really hard month. I'll just leave it at this. It's been a month. Which is why I think I had a lot of stitching. Because because it is a stress reliever for me. So it's my hobby. It's what helps me with my own burnout. So I think there was just a lot of days where I was ending my day at 5:30 and just going straight to the couch and starting to stitch, as opposed to doing other things and that I normally would do. That I normally stitch around 2 to 3 hours a night, and there were definitely days where I was probably stitching like for 5-6 hours a night, because I go to bed like at midnight, right? So like, or 1 o'clock, and so if I start stitching at 5:30, right, I'm stitching for 5 hours and make my husband cook dinner. Wow, 15 minutes in, we're not even into stitching yet. So, but that being said, with my super productive month, I have 2 finishes and a whip. So I worked on 3 projects total. I had planned on bringing back in Cinderella for this month, because I was like, oh, I didn't work on it at all in June because of the vacation and stuff like that. In order for me to finish that project by the end of the year, I need to put in 3,000 stitches into it every month. And so, and I had already caught up. I knew I was not going to be working on it that much in June, so I had done some extra stitching in May because it was monogamous May working on Cinderella. So I was caught up, and I was like, oh, I need to bring back my 3,000 stitches into Cinderella. Did not even pick it up. I got finish fever. And when you have finish fever, the only cure is to finish, right? So let's get going. So first up is the one that you have been seeing for a couple of months now, which is I finished Happily Ever After by Frosted Pumpkin. So here you go. Da, da, da. So this is on 28 count Cashel linen crystal helix by Picture This Plus. I did everything 2/2 with the called for DMC, and look at these fun. So that's the owl and the pussy hat, Heidi, Three Billy Goats, Gruff, which I didn't actually know that fairy tale. And then you have Around the World in 80 Days, Robin Hood, um, Little House on the Prairie, Wind in the Willows, Aladdin, The Ugly Duckling, and then at the bottom you have Sword in the Stone, Pride and Prejudice, and Sleeping Beauty. So those are all the fairy tales or stories that were in this piece. This was a gift from one of my friends, and so I'm really happy to finally finish it. And so super excited. Yeah. This is a lot. I love Frosted Pumpkin because it's cute. It's cutesy, quirky kind of patterns, and so the um yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't have children or anything like that. You know, my brother-in-law, and his wife, I guess my sister-in-law. At what point in time do you drop the in-laws? My brother and sister-in-law, are trying, not to jinx it, but they want children and they are planning on having children. And so I don't know if they're trying, but I know they're planning on having children. So although it was not planned for whoever the child may be, this might be something to have on the back burner. I don't stitch quickly enough to do like people who do these gifts for people. I'm always impressed by that. I don't stitch that quickly. I'm gonna put it over on my printer. I really do need to clean up the space. It's really bad. Next up was I started that on a New Year's Eve 2020. So it was one of my 2020 starts. That is my goal for the year, which is to finish my 2020 projects this year, with the exception of one project. And so that is another one down for that. But I started that on New Year's Eve watching Bridgerton. Season 1 is what I actually was stitching to when I started that. And I fit in. Now it's done on July 29th, actually, just a couple of days ago. So, and then next up was a new start and a new finish. So everyone is doing Christmas in July, not Jessie. Jessie's ready for Halloween. Let's bring in some spooky stitching, right? But I like a cutesy stitch. I don't really like a scary stitch. And so next up is the Sneaky Spooky Spells Sal from Luminous Fiber Arts. The designer is Misty. I have a start and a finish. I can't believe I kept up with the stitch along. That never happened. Look how cute this is. Look at that cute little cat sneaky about. I love the expression on the pumpkin's face. Oh, I hope it's focusing. And then there's the ghost. Look at those candy corn. Isn't that just adorable? And that bat. And then look at this little silly little witch. I mean, look at that. That spider on her hat. This piece is like perfection. I love this piece so much. And this is on a 32 count Belfast linen. It is Opulence, dyed by Misty at Luminous Fiber Arts. And I stitched it 2/2 with all of the called for flosses, DMC, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks. And so that is what it is. I know Misty doesn't dye her fabric, like her schedule of dyeing is tied to her availability, but this is a great fabric. It was I really love the coloring of it. I would probably say I recommend her fabric. But yeah, I love it. The talent in the expression on the faces and the pumpkin, like the design. I mean, I know this looks like it's a simple pattern, but it really isn't, like in terms of its design. So I love it. Plenty of time. I worked on, did I tell you days and stuff like that? I didn't. Let me go back to, let me finish this one first. So Sneaky Spooky Cells, I worked on this for 11 days. Is a total stitches is 5,188. So I worked this on 11 days. Now, to be fair, one of those days was July 4th. Not July 4th, the day of, but the holiday, the day we spent, and I stitched the entire day. I just sat there and just stitched. So, so I finished Clue 1 really fast, because I spent an entire day on it. After that, it probably was around 3 days per clue of around, 2 or 3 hours of stitching a night. But so it was pretty fast because there are a lot of block colors, right? Like it's block colors, so it is fast stitching, even though it is, and it's it's considered a small, right? Now, just some thoughts on like how I use flosses. So there were only two variegated flosses. So one was the classic Colorworks, which was the Blackbird, which is all of the dark, super dark brown, almost black coloring in there. The variation is so slight that you don't even really notice it. But the other one was this Vigaris on the Witch, the green. Focus. Focus. It wants to focus on me, so let's do this. All right, on the green there, so you can see that. So I know there's lots of discussions about how you use your variegated flosses. I'm gonna let you know that I don't. So I do stitch by row, right? I go by row on this particular case. My choice to do English versus Dutch, which is the official terminology of whether or not you go straight across one leg and then straight across back the other leg, or you do each X at a time. That's the difference between the two styles. English is all the way across, all the way back. Dutch is a single stitch at a time. Just FYI. My decision when I'm using a variegated floss depends very much on the pattern that I'm working on and what kind of a look I'm going for. There is no right or wrong in stitching in any form, shape, or fashion. What you like is what you like, right? You're the one doing the work. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to do these. Whatever appearance you want to get out of your piece, do that. But just in case anyone's wondering what I do everything with a loop start. I do everything with 2 threads. Now, again, what I do depends very much on the piece that I'm working on. And so typically, if you're going to try to create the variegated look, right, the shift in the color dimensions, you're going to want to do it stitch by stitch, X by X, and you're going to go in a row, right? Because that is what will create the subtle flow from color to color. If you do 2 threads and you go across and back, it creates a stripy look to it, which is fine. Depends on what you want to do, right? And I've done that. I'm like, who cares? This particular project, stripy works, right? But for this, because it was her face and her skin tone, right? That what I did was that I did take one strand, looped it, and then I went across and back. I think if you see it, let me do it, fold it over so I can. When you look at it, I think the effect creates a depth to her skin tone that I think is more natural. Because by doing that, it doesn't create a stripy look to it. It just creates some dimension to her skin tone, which I think is what happens with most people if they don't wear makeup. So I don't know. That's just a thought that I have. I also did the same thing when I worked on Emily's house by Lindy Stitches. When it was the house was, I also did a single thread, looped it, so that way there was 2 tones. Basically, it resulted in one half of the thread would be one tone of the color and the variegation, one other half would create another tone of the variegation. And I felt it just created a little bit more dimension to the coloring, because I felt like you wouldn't have a house. Well, you could if it was brick or something like that, right? Like you would have but I felt like, well, this is an old house that has been painted. And so an old house that's painted is going to have that flow and things like that. So anyways, so just saying that if you're sitting here wondering like, oh, I'm supposed to pull out 2 threads, but loop start for life, right? You can still do it with a variegated thread. And that would be basically what it will look like. So for what that's worth, that was helpful. Last but not least, those are my 2 finishes. I also worked on Trans Pride Tapestry. I felt a little bad that I wasn't able to do a whole lot of pride stitching in June because of the traveling and I didn't have the pieces with me. So I am so sorry, Dee. I wish I had been able to be more participatory. I did watch not all the videos, probably about a third, that might be generous, maybe a quarter of the videos. I'm going to go back. They're still available. Go take a look at it. If you didn't have a chance to participate in Pride Stitching, or you were like me and just kind of got busy and, you know, and you just were a bad person and forgot. No, I'm just kidding. You're not a bad person if you forgot. You know, but Dee did a lot of work in that, and it would be great if we could go out there and, you know, support that work year round, because, well, what's rights if they're not available all the time? So anyways, but what I do is I am in No New Starts, is one of my challenge groups, and I'm doing the road trip, which is really a lot of fun, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to do it again next year. I don't think I'll have enough whips to warrant doing No New Starts. If I keep on path, there won't be enough. I won't have enough to keep on it, but I really enjoyed the road trip, and I think I'm going to try to find some other group that does it in a similar way, because I am a progress stitcher, basically being, I like to see progress in my piece as opposed to process. I don't just randomly pick up pieces, stitch on it for a night, put in 200 stitches in a night, and then be okay with that, and then not pick it up again for like 6 months. Like, that's just not my style. I like to have some level of progress. I like getting to stopping points. I like getting to seeing something and being like, okay, I hit my goal, and then walk away. Like, that's just how I am. And so, so No New Starts, the road trip allows me to do that, because it gives me these stitching goals to hit, right? Because they're traveling goals and stuff like that. And so I really like that, because then I'm able to kind of allocate projects to whatever it is in the road trip that I'm working on. So in the road trip, you are traveling from local needle shop stores. Did I just say shop stores? But you're traveling between stores, and then you're stopping and shopping, and then you're camping in campgrounds. And so what I do is that I kind of pick whatever my focus piece is what my traveling piece is. And then when I start to stop for a shopping item, I pick a different piece. And for me, that's Pride Tapestry. And so it becomes my focus piece for shopping pieces. It's my travel piece. It's something easy for me to take with me when I go someplace where I need to stitch on something outside in the world, because I don't have to worry about counting. And overall, it's Pride stitching, y'all. So I have misplaced my color printout of Pride Tapestry, so apologies for that. But that's what it's going to look like when it is done. This is artwork by Kari Nakken, and it was the pattern is by Dees 20 Stitches. And this is where it is. So basically what I've done is I filled in the blushy kind of color in the hooves here. With my needle minder. Right, so I filled that in, and then all of this part of the body is what I stitched in, and I also stitched in that part. Now, I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida Hue by Fortnight Fabrics. It came in a box. I don't know if and when the color is available. And I'm stitching everything with the called for DMC, except I have now made a conversion. So the called for the body of the unicorn was Diamante, which I tried to stitch. Come on, focus. There it goes. Which you see at the top of the head at the top of their head. Now, I hate stitching in this Diamante. I hate to say it, but I do. I don't enjoy it. I think if it was in small amounts of stitching, I could deal with it and just work through it, but it's misery. So that's what the Diamante looks like in my bad stitching, right? So I don't think the coverage is particularly great, and it could just be the nature of my stitching, and it was really hard to stitch with in general. Now here is the conversion, which I have converted to each wall. So this is Blanc Etoile. I have no idea why that got darker. Natural lighting. So, which has a little bit more of a silver tint to it. Hold on. Technical difficulty. Okay, hopefully that was pretty seamless. I had a technical difficulty there, but let's go back to focus. Focus, there we go. So that is the Etoile, the Blanc Etoile there, which again has a little bit more of a silver look to it. So it's white. It has, because it got that gold, that silver filament to it. You can see the gold Etoile there that has that gold filament in it, compared to the Diamante, which is a shiny white. So it is a completely different. There's a, here we go. Now you see both of them together. It's a completely different look, but honestly, it's so much easier to stitch with. Like, I don't mind I find Etoile to be fine to stitch with. It's so much easier to stitch with compared to Diamante, and then just look at how much I put in. So almost all of that, I worked on this for 7 days, and that's 1,511 stitches. And some of these days were like 50 stitches to just meet that goal for that challenge. So there you go. Hope that was helpful information for anyone who, whether or not you're stitching on this, which I do recommend. It is fun. It's giant. It's big. Like, it does take a long time. I feel guilty that it's not done, because I feel like I've seen so many people finish it, and I feel bad that it's not done yet, especially since it's such easy stitching. But I think now that I've gone to the Etoile, and the fact that I was able to put in basically, I mean, of that 1,500, like only 200 of it is that maybe about 300 of it is that pink. The rest of it is that Etoile. So much easier, much better. Things about the Etoile that you should know about if you are going to stitch on it. You really can't. You can do a loop start on it, but you have to be mindful of your loop start, right? So I'm not like particularly like the most like focused stitcher, in the sense like I'm living in the land of good enough, like Pam, right? I'm not selling these. They're gifts. There's imperfections in the, like, right, they're my stuff. Like, it's, like, I'm not trying to be a professional cross stitcher here. So I do have bad stitching here and there where I'll skip, like, especially in the linen, I'll hit the wrong hole or something, like, and I'll see it like much later, and I'll be like, that's not quite right, but like, I don't railroad, I don't lay them flat or anything along that line. So like, that's not my bag of stitching. But all that to say, though, most of the time when I do a loop start with just DMC, any floss, right, it lays pretty flat when you go back, when you do your double back in, right, it lays pretty flat without any real problems. When you're doing that with the Etoile, you're going to have to be a little bit more mindful of that, because it doesn't, because of the silver, it's a fluffier thread. Like, did I bring the project bag in with me? Did I bring the project bag? I thought I brought the project bag. Where's my project bag? I guess I did not bring the project bag inside. I must have left it out there. Oh, here it is. Again, I need to clean up. So, I didn't put it on a thread drop, y'all. But here is, so here's the Etoile, like, if you can see it there. So you can see that it's a fluffy kind of thread, right? So this is one that's super easy to pull a single thread out, by the way. If anyone struggles with that, it's really easy. So that's like a single thread there. But you can see that it's a little fluffy. I don't know how else to describe it. It's so fluffy. So when you loop it, it doesn't lay flat. Like, usually the filament, the silver filament will kind of stick out a little bit, or the actual thread will kind of be a little scrunchy. It's not impossible to do. You just have to be mindful that it is, that it's going to be loopy around. When it's on the bottom, if it's the bottom leg, it may not be so bad because it'll get covered up by subsequent stitching. But if it's on the top leg, you'll be able to see it. And so I've definitely had to do some tucking and that kind of stuff to try to get that look, taking, to be like, oh, and so I still do it normal, right? Like I haven't changed, like me personally, I haven't changed it. But be aware of that if you haven't used it before and you're thinking about using Etoile and you get frustrated by that, then just do a normal, like, tuck under kind of, you know, start. So. All right, that's it for the stitching component to it. Thinking about plans for August. I don't know if I have any specific plans for August. I will be bringing back Cinderella. I have already even moved it out to my stitching spot out of its where it was being living for the past month. So where I am currently, I now have 10 whips in progress. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So I have 10 whips currently, of which 4 are 2020 starts. And so now of the 4, that's Cinderella. Still trying to focus on that to get that done by the end of the year. I had lost a month, so we'll see. We'll see if I might end up making that a big focus this month to try to catch up. Instead of putting in 3,000 stitches, I'm thinking about do y'all think I can do it? Do you think I can put in 10,000 stitches into Cinderella? That would be pretty much monogamous stitching. There's so much confetti in Cinderella. I think we're looking at monogamous stitching. Monogamous August. Not really. Back to school focus August. Anyways, but we'll think about it because I haven't really thought about plans. Anyways, but so Cinderella was a goal to finish by the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen at this point, but I'm just going to try. Lots of confetti, hard to do. Then I have Sailor Moon Squad, which is by Tilton Crafts, full coverage. That is my one piece that I'm not trying to finish this year. That one will get carried over into the next year because who can fit? I don't know. I do see people who are able to finish those kinds of pieces really quickly, and I'm always amazed by that. You know, people, talented. And then I have Liberty Quaker by Luminous Fiber Arts, which is a very small start. Like that one's going to take a lot of focus to get that done by the end of the year. Also, it's a patriotic piece. It's not really, it's a squirrel holding a nut and flags. I'm not sure it's super patriotic, but it is a patriotic piece, which doesn't call to me as often. I'll leave it at that. It doesn't call to me very often. But it is something I started in 2020, and it is one of my goals. And so, I mean, it's August. Summer's patriotic, I guess. I don't know. There's that. And then there's Pumpkin Thieves by Madame Chantilly. Now, that one is actually pretty close to being done. Like, that one probably, a couple weeks of focus might get it done. I don't know. What do you think? If I pick up stitching tonight, it'll be on Cinderella. So, comment. Let me know what you think I should focus on. But maybe it doesn't matter. You're not even seeing what projects I'm talking about. I don't even have them to show you. Like, here's where I am. Blah, blah, blah. It's not a whip braid. But so I'm gonna pick one of those two, either Liberty Quaker or Pumpkin Thieves, to be the next thing I kind of focus on. But I'm in a Halloween mood, so it probably will be Pumpkin Thieves because it will be. And also, I think I can finish it. I think if I give it some space and time, I think I can finish it this month, even with a focus on Cinderella. So, and then I'll continue to work on Pride Tapestry as my secondary focus. So, yeah. So those are my plans for August. Now, things people I have been watching. I probably should have put this in the beginning, but some Flosstubers some new to me Flosstubers in the month of July that I'm going to share with you because I think that you'll enjoy them, and hopefully you go check them out. And give them a subscribe, a like, a follow, whatever, all the things that you do when you like someone and want them to be your stitchy friend. But 3 different Flosstubers this month to share. The first one is Beatrice with the Stitching Journal Club, brand new Flosstuber. I think so far she has made weekly videos, and they are and so I think I saw a 3rd video. There was the 3 videos. So pretty quick, she's making them she's making them frequently. It may be every other weekend, I'm not sure, but pretty frequent. She is a proper nerd, like due respect, kind of like an academic kind of proper nerd, right? Like it's, and what I like is that at the end of each video, in addition to sharing her wonderful pieces and the progress that she makes on them. She kind of highlights like something really interesting and things that you would learn about it. Like there was one that she was talking about the birds being dinosaurs, and but not like in the sense of like how we talk about it when you don't know anything, but like real education. And it's fun. I really enjoyed these videos, both for the stitching and that little bit of fun at the end. So go check her out. I also, new to me, Flosstuber, what rock was I under that I hadn't been watching her? But Anita, the Violet Stitcher. So just in case she's new to you, she's new to me. She is a UK stitcher, and I really just enjoy watching her videos and her pieces. But she's been around for a little bit, so she's not brand new, just new to me. So go and give her a check out. And then, last but certainly not least, is Miss Ella of the Spectrum Stitcher. And so she is also, I think, just new to me. I don't think she's a new Flosstuber. I think she's been making videos for a few months now, but new to me. And I think she's an Australian. I'm pretty sure she's an Australian stitcher, and but also lots of fun pieces, and really enjoy her perspective on how she does that. And but I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit more about herself when you go and watch her video. But all three of these Flosstubers are fitting within my standards that I try to encourage people. Right. It's okay, y'all. Watch the regular Flosstubers. I don't have this is not. I'm not saying only watch people that are diverse and who think and look different from you. But try to watch a handful. Right. Try to bring it into your circle. I definitely watch some people who do not fit a bill that would be considered diverse or different thinking. But they probably are different thinking from me, but maybe not different thinking from you. But but all three do fit within my my goal to encourage people to watch Flosstubers who do not look or think like themselves. So if you are still looking for those types of floss tubes, there's 3 to go check out. All those information will be down below in the show notes. All right. Oh wow, 45 minutes in, and now we're gonna hit the haul part. I got some thoughts on some haul. So if you're interested in this includes a stand. I bought a stand. So, but if you're not interested in haul, then this is goodbye. I'm being mindful that apparently there are some people who find the haul sections really overwhelming. So that's why I am now putting them at the end of my video. But if you are interested for the things that I bought, hang out. All right, things that I bought. So first, the standard stuff. My Fabric of the Month Club from Yummy Fiberlicious. This month is the Summer Soiree. So that, but oh my goodness, y'all, this is yummy. Look at these greens inside that pink. Looking at the camera, it's pretty true. It's very subtle. I get a Lugana. I get a 32 count Lugana. So for me, I think it's beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on it. I love the Fiberlicious fabric. I find her colors to be so beautiful. But almost every pattern I pick to stitch on, needs to be on a super neutral. I need to do better. I need to find patterns for the fabric. That's what I really need to do. Or go adventurous. Maybe I just need to be more adventurous. All right. And then I also, I do get Color and Cotton's Fabric of the Month, but it comes every other month. But they were doing a grab bag sale. All apologies for crinkles, did not warn anybody, but apologies for crinkles. But they did have a grab bag, and it was just, and so I ordered one for linen. I got 3 pieces. About to undo some things. So these are all mystery pieces. But they are neutrals. So here's this dark mocha-esque kind of color. This kind of grassy, this one's a little washed out. This is a little grassy green, kind of. It's very muted. It is a muted green, but it's not reading green on the camera, but it is green. And then this kind of beigey taupe, kind of basic. And they're fat eighths, right? So decent size for small pieces. And so I got that. And, you know, you can't have fabric travel by itself unless it's part of a fabric in a month club. So I went ahead and purchased the grab bags that they had of their general arts and mystery threads. And so here is those colors. And the colors, just in case you're interested, are Shaker White, Chalk, Peach Tree Ice Cream, Honeydew, and Buttermilk. That's the names of the colors. The buttermilk on that side. I'm not really sure why I did this. I rarely substitute colors. I don't stitch from stash very often. But who knows? Maybe that can be a goal of mine in 23. I could challenge myself to do something. And then I have this batch of colors. She just picked 2 batches. I just ordered 2, and she said that she would do her best to give a variety. And so these are jewel tones, which I love. I love a jewel tone. So this is Sugar Plum, Royal Purple, Crystal Lake, Cameo Pink, and Briar Rose. I actually think I already own Briar Rose, but look at that. Those are beautiful. So that's what I did. Did I need any of this? No. But it was a bad month, and I was doing a lot of therapy shopping. Then last but not least, in terms of patterns, fabrics, and stuff like that, I do have some other stuff. I have a stand. Don't forget, I got a stand. I'm going to give you a review of that. I ordered from Forbidden Fiber Co. the Lord Witherbottom. Lord Theodore Witherbottom. And that is the pattern. Look how cute that is. Steampunk sheep. How can you not get that? Just saying. Strange things are afoot in Sheepchester, so it comes with a little newsletter in there, and she has already sent out an email that the pre-orders for the next one, which is Lady Violet Witherbottom, is available for pre-order purchase. And so it comes with a matching needle minder. It doesn't want to focus because I'm in the background. Here are all the flosses that go with it. And the fabric is frozen. Let me pull that out so you can see that. Although I've already purchased frozen, so I think I've shown this once to you before, but this is the called for fabric for Mr. Lord Theodore. So here it is. It's a beautiful color. Really truly is a beautiful color. And let's plop that thread on top of it. Look at that. And the names of these colors is Magnolia. There's 2 skeins of those. Chalkboard, Collegiate, Blush and Blashful, Little Brown Bat, Jingle Bells, and Cupid are the names of the colors there. So that's cute. I'm trying not to start anything new, because again, I'm in no new starts, even though I have earned a new I'm in the 22 for 22 path for no new starts. So there's and I only have 10 whips now. I can definitely bring in projects without any problems, but I'm trying to focus. I'm trying not to bring in anything new until I finish the 2020 projects. That being said, though, I obviously clearly started sneaky spooky spells, so you know. So much for that. All right, next up is stitchy related. I did buy a stand. So I have a floor stand for Case Creations, and it is a good stand. I enjoy it. I've had it now for many years. I bought it at least 15, if not longer, maybe 20 years ago. And it has lasted the test of time. There's some, the little bulb is definitely worn thin from adjustments and things like that. But for the most part, I've always been really happy with my Case Creation floor stand. Through the years, new couches and things like that have been purchased. It's not always, and so now it's not quite the best in terms of space. I do use it when I'm working on big pieces, and so there's no real change for that. But one of the things is that I don't use it when I'm stitching on a small piece and basically anything smaller than, if it's in an 8x10 Q snap, I don't use a stand. And so I really wanted a stand to be able to do for my smaller pieces that could sit on my lap. And so I kind of looked around and things like that. And I thought about getting like the really pretty Duco one and stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, I was kind of like, you know what though? My Case Creations was a great stand. It's lasted a really long time. I've used it. It's been abused. I'm going to go ahead and get another Case Creation. So that is what I did. I have gotten a Case Creation stand. So I think other people use this. Thread the Needle, which for some reason her name is escaping my head right now. Although I watch her all the time, I can't remember her name. I think Nithya of Daybreak Stitching, Stitchery, also uses the Case Creations. I'm not 100% sure. My apologies if I gotten that wrong, but so this is a Case Creation stand, right? So it's pretty basic. I'm not going to do a full-on review, but like it's like all the Case Creations, extremely adjustable. Lots of places that you can adjust. There's a little notch here. You can adjust in this is one leg of adjustment. This is another leg of adjustment. And then this is a leg of adjustment. And then you put your little Q snap in here. We do not know what this little do is. The only thing I can think of is that it tells you where to stop. Like that. That's kind of, I don't really know what this is for. But basically what I did was I put it in I put in my Q snap, and then I kind of made sure it wasn't too tight, and then that's where I put that, and then that makes sure that it doesn't go in, I guess not break my Q snap. It's the only thing I can think of. But then I use this little D to flip it. I don't know what that's good. Anyway, but this is my new stand. Very happy with it. In general, has a general rule. Why I like the stand. When I use my big frame, when I am on using my floor stand, I can two-hand stitch. And I do. And excuse me. And so, but when I am holding a Q snap, I can't. I do the back and forth, back and forth. And so, do I think that might contribute to this incredible increase in numbers? Like, for the past 2 months, I've been averaging like 9,000 stitches a month, and I put in 15,000. I think the two-handed stitching is making a big difference in stitching faster. It's gotta, right? That couple of seconds that it takes to move your hand back and forth. I also find I don't get as fatigued as quickly. Excuse me, let me get a drink. I do have to use this part has a little bit of a rest. You can adjust it back and forth. You can keep this on your right side. You can keep it on your left side. I do keep it on my left side now, but my Case Creation sits on my right side. So I'm actually used to having this part on my right side. So I kind of flip back and forth depending on which side of the piece I'm stitching on. I like to have the side I'm stitching on further away from this so that way it doesn't hit. But because of my arm and the way I sit in the Case Creation and this floor stand, the way that's set up, I don't hit this as much as I do when I'm doing it on this side. Anyways, but so overall, very happy with it. It was it ended up being $100. So I will say that I did not have a very good experience with the shop. And if you want to know which shop that was, feel free to message me and I can let you know. Now, I have purchased from this shop before, purchasing some accessories for my floor stand, and had a great experience with them. For whatever reason, I do not know what happened, but the experience I had this time around was really, really bad. So that's why I'm not going to call them out on the video, because I have had a previous good experience with them. But this secondary experience really rubbed me a little bit raw, because I was like, I don't understand, right? So I did purchase this on sale. So first of all, it went on sale at 30% off. That's, and so I purchased it when it was on sale at 30% off. Then the following week, it went on sale at 40% off. And I was like, that's a little bit annoying, but I didn't care so much, right? Regular price is $100. That's a $10 difference, right? That's fine. I'm not, you got to respect money. I think you have to respect money, but I was like, that's okay. I mean, people can choose how much they shift their their pricing and that kind of stuff. That's really okay. I didn't wait. I bought it at 30% off as opposed to 40% off. Not a problem. You can order it either unstained or stained. And I ordered it stained. You can see it's stained. What arrived pretty quickly was unstained. And so not pretty quickly, right? So I ordered it at the beginning of May. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get this was I wanted to have a stand on my trip. And one of the things that was really exciting about this was that you can flatten it out, right? Like you can actually take it apart and it travels really well. I just messed up all my settings. That's okay. The good news is that it's really easy to adjust. And they tell you it takes about 2 or 3 weeks for it to deliver. I was expecting that. That didn't bother me at all. So it timely went out, and I got it when I was expecting to get it. But what they sent me was unstained and not stained. And there's a price difference between unstained and stained. So there was already, it's unstained is like $10-12 less expensive than the stained. I didn't care that I got an unstained version of it. What I cared about was that there was a price difference, right? Because now I was going to have to go buy staining, do the work myself, and that kind of stuff. I was prepared to do that. That wasn't a big deal. But I did contact them and I said, hey, how would you like me to do this, right? There's a couple of things that we can do. I could either go ahead and send this, like we can exchange it out, right? That would be the thing to do. We can exchange it out. I was like, or you can either refund me the difference in the price or refund me the whole thing and just charge me for the unstained. Like, right, I was prepared to do whatever. Like, we can do it over the phone. We get, like, right. I mean, I didn't put all that in my message, but I kind of said, here's the options. We can either do a full-out exchange. We can do a refund of the price difference or refund the whole thing and just charge me for the unstained thing at the sale price, right? Like, that was basically what I was saying, right? Like, and not even at the 40% off, at the 30% off. I was fine with that. That's when I bought it. And they replied pretty quickly, like the same day, saying, oh my gosh, so sorry, let's go ahead and do an exchange. And I was like, that's fine. What do you need from me? And they're like, please send me a picture of the box. And I did. I sent them a picture the same day. Like, it wasn't even, like, it was maybe a few hours later, but it was the same day. I sent back what they asked me to send them. And then I got no response. Nothing. I waited a couple of days, like 2 or 3 days, saying, hey, what do you need? Type of thing. No response. Then I waited another few days and sent a follow-up. Like, hey, what's going on? Then it was a week later. Like, it was like 3 messages. I think in total I sent about 3 messages basically saying, hey, what's going on? At this point in time, I feel like I should get a refund. Like, I'm going to return it and just get a refund, right? Like there was absolutely no response. And then, though, because they were very unresponsive, I felt like, well, I don't want to send it back because then what happens if I don't get my money? Right? It's still $70. Like, it's still, that now $10, I can be like, okay, I didn't buy it at the right time. Hey, that's what happens. But like, I would have been out $70 plus the price of the shipping it back. And so I was like, well, until I actually get a hold of them, I'm going to keep it and then just, I guess, eat the $10 difference or the $12 difference in the price, right? And not worry about it. But so I ended up deciding to keep it because I was like, well, I don't want to lose all the money because they were so unresponsive. And I guess I could have escalated it to Etsy because I did order it through Etsy. But I just didn't want to do that. I feel like, there's no reason for that. So we went on our vacation and we came back and I was like, you know what? Let's try one more time. And so I did message them again one more time. It is important for me to note that all these messages at the very beginning were very polite until my very last one where I was like, hey, but that was over a week. Like, it was message 1, then it was like 3 days later, 3 days later, 3 days later. So it was well over a week. And then I came back from my vacation and that's when I messaged them again being like, I'm going to try one more time to see if someone can respond to this and make this right. And then they were like, okay, we will exchange it, and basically said that they had gotten sick with COVID, which I am not saying that they didn't, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be that bitch who's like, oh, you should have been working while you had COVID. I'm not saying that at all. But I also don't understand like why there was zero response from them in a month, right? Like I understand if you had to shut down your business and be sick and all that, but don't you think you go back and catch up on your messages? I sent them both an email and a message through Etsy, and I didn't get a response from either one of them in either space. So I was like, uh, so I didn't understand the not catching up on messages, especially, you know, when there was definitely a response. So so that didn't really sit well with me. I didn't find that to be a great excuse. It's like, well, even if you did, it's been 6 weeks. Like this was mid-May, and this, well, it's been 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, and this was at the end of, June that I was messaging them. You did not see this in my June update video because I still hadn't gotten it yet at this point in time, right? And so I was like, that didn't sit well with me. And then, um, and then they didn't offer to pay for the shipping back. So yeah, they sent me the correct one, but then I was just like, and they're like, well, you need to send it back. And I'm like, okay, well, what are the instructions? What are you telling me to do? And stuff like that. Then they didn't offer to pay for it. And so it cost me $14 to send it back because I sent it back with tracking because I wasn't going to send it without tracking because I wasn't going to be accused of not sending it, right? And being like, oh, you didn't send it, right? So I wanted to have proof that it got sent. And then confirm that it got there. And so overall, I think it cost me money. Like, so I don't know. I don't know if that was a helpful review for y'all in any way. The stand itself is great. I like it. It's not perfect. In the sense of like, there's probably rooms for improvement for that. But I would say that in all my research and trying to find a different stand to get, I didn't find for its cost and its value, this was probably a good option for the fact that I use Q-snaps, right? I think that there's other options available out there if you use scrolls and hoops. But for me, in my research for Q-snap, this made the most amount of sense. It does sit on my lap comfortably well. I'm going to try it with Cinderella, and I'll let you know next month if even the big frame can sit on it without any problems. We'll see. I don't think it will because of the sizing and stuff like that, but we'll see. So, anyways, for what it's worth, if you're interested in the store, if you're thinking about buying and you're like, now again, the reason why I'm not calling it out completely, I had another experience with them that was perfect and a really great experience, which is why I bought from them again. So, but this whole experience with them now, I would not buy from them again. I feel like they didn't do right by me. And so that didn't make me feel good. So, 2 more things to show you that are one's a little bit stitchy related, but not super stitchy related. Y'all, you've already seen my first purchase before of my cross-stitch shoes. They had another pair. So here is a new pair of cross-stitch themed shoes. Woo! So excited about my shoes. Cross-themed shoes. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Shit sides. This is from Hot Chocolate Designs. They are not inexpensive. They're like $80 shoes or something like that. But they're very, very comfortable. I've never had to break them in. I've worn them. I had the other pair. I've worn the all-day concerts. I've worn them all day in general because they are they're not environmentally friendly either. So they're kind of a vinyl. So, but they easy to clean with, and I've cleaned the other shoes really well. So, but that was my other. So, and they come in like a milk carton, but I was super excited about that. And then last but not least, not stitchy related, but because you know about my love of all things Sailor Moon, it's the 30th anniversary of Sailor Moon, of the anime. And I bought these Vans for Sailor Moon. Look at that. these were also not inexpensive, but we were like, I'm going to go ahead and get it. And then the sides are the Scouts. Aren't they awesome? I love them. I can't convince myself to wear them though. Like, which is silly because I'm not like a shoe collector. Like, I'm not here to like collect shoes and never wear them. But I'm having a hard time convincing myself to wear them. So, but soon I'm gonna wear them. And so that's it. Oh, it's over an hour long. This is a long video today for only 3 cross stitch pieces. I did some rants, but that's okay. It's all right. Okay. Well, if you stuck it out this long and listened to my ranties about my life and my job and that kind of stuff, you know, if y'all really would prefer me to put my life updates at the end, just let me know and I will do that. But I will say I put them at the front because it's just, you know, I feel like it's what you do when you get together with your friends. How's life going? What's happening? I kind of like to hear about life updates from people when I watch their videos because you're my stitchy friends. I want to know what's going on with your life. And I kind of want to know about that to a certain extent more than what you're stitching on at the beginning, right? Because I feel like I'm checking in with you. What's going on with you? But I also know that when I spend 15 minutes finally getting to it, although I think like some of that was stitching related. I don't know. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. And thank you so much for those people who keep coming back and commenting. It really does make my day, even though it takes me a month to respond back. Because while this is uploading, it's probably when I'll start responding to all those comments. But I really do appreciate it. And, you know, I know that there's so many Flosstubers out there. Every month I see new people coming up and posting and everything. And you know, and I know I'm not the best Flosstuber, and so I appreciate you spending time with me. And so with that, wherever you are, I hope you're having a stitching good time. And take care. See you in a month. Bye-bye.